It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Pomegranate podcast, Team Sheet Tantrum, first one of the season. As you can see, I'm in Ireland, but Paddy has been brave enough to break out the sleeveless singlet, and because he's in climes more conducive to that type of wear at this moment in time, and I'm absolutely delighted to have him here because no one should jump on during their holidays, but Paddy wouldn't miss this one for the world, he said.
Well, you can't miss a Team Sheet Tantrum, especially the first one of the season.
And, Paddy, I don't know if it's because of you, but I've just had 3 people from Turkey just follow the podcast out of nowhere. So I don't know if it's because of you. You spreading the good news over there or something.
Do you know, maybe it's the waiters here. They're looking at me funny for speaking into the phone. No, it's perfectly normal here because people are doing WhatsApp video calls home all the time. So people are coming in here looking for Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi is at a premium. But I think we're fairly stable. So hopefully you can hear me okay and see me okay.
Good. Yeah, I can indeed. Yeah, it freezes small, but audio is what we need. It's absolutely perfect. And Paddy, lots going around today. I'm sorry, guys. I've got Everton and Brighton on here, and Everton have just been denied a stone wall of penalty. They've been overturned by VAR. So hopefully we don't
turn it off. Turn it off.
Yeah.
And I hope that's the last time we have to talk about VAR or referees today.
Paddy, you remember we spoke about doing a full podcast that we were going to do on that new Premier League VAR match officials Twitter page about how they got everything wrong and tried to sweep it under the carpet. Don't think I haven't forgotten about that. So we might.
No, we'll do that, but we will warn people so they can. The people who come into my DMs and slag the shit out of me for giving out about referees, they can all tune out on that specific night. But
exactly.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to go through a season and not have to worry about referees? But unfortunately, they've shown today that they're just not good enough. So please don't let that happen tonight, because I could really do with a relaxing holiday and not being worried about being robbed by referees. But I'm quietly optimistic about tonight, mainly because you're going to say there is some rumours doing the rounds.
There are.
Who's going to play?
Mr. Watkins is going to start up top. Now, how true they are or not, I don't know. I've just seen them on Twitter. So they're Twitter rumours, and we know that Twitter rumours can be as false as much as they can be true. But seems to have seen a couple of them. Haven't heard it from any source that I would categorize, or I haven't seen it. Maybe you guys have any source that I would categorize as ITK or anything like that. But there was a lot of different sources that seemed to say it in and around the same time. So let's just see what the story is there with regards to that. But we only got about a minute, and the team sheet should be out now any moment, because teams are now announced 75 minutes before the game, as opposed to It's in. Why isn't it opening up for me here? They haven't posted it to Twitter yet.
They have, because they just notified me.
Yeah, I can't open it. So let's pop it up there in the team. And hey, look, first person staring back at us on the screen, spoiler alert, everybody, is going to be Mr. Arthur George Watkins, or Oliver Arthur George Watkins. There he is. Ollie Watkins staring back at us is going to start for us today. It's Martinez, Cash, Konza, Pau, Digne, Onana, Tielemans, McGinn, Bailey, Rogers, and Watkins. No surprises there whatsoever. I would go so far as to say, with regards to that team, the team that we would have expected to go out in the first game today. I'm delighted to see that Watkins is there. We'll run through the bench as well, a very, very, very strong bench. We've got Joe Gauci. Diego Carlos is back from his sabbatical, it seems. He's back in there. Ian Matson, Ned is in there, Ross Barkley, Emi Buendia, Jaden Philogene, Jacob Ramsey, and John Duran are in there as well on the bench. So last year, you guys, there's no two goalkeepers like we had an awful lot last year, and there's no young players named on the bench there. It's a very, very senior squad, Paddy. I think that's one of the big changes there. Now there are players missing that we'll talk about as well from that bench that that have been new signings this season as well.
Yeah, and they're going to take a bit of time to bed in there. That's absolutely fine. Obviously, the two talking points is the one that's staring back at us is Ollie Watkins, that has recovered from whatever injury he had that kept him out for a while, that he was just doing light training. And obviously, Mr. J. Duran at the end of that graphic that you read out at the bottom, I can't see it obviously because I'm half blind and it's tiny on my screen here. But he's obviously decided that John Duran is the man that's going to act as the backup until something changes in the meantime. So there's absolutely no arguments with any of the team. He's gone as he did last season to basically go with what his strongest team was out there. The team that he knows will do a job for him with very little new players starting on the pitch, like other than Onana. I think he's the only new signing. Would that be correct?
That's it.
On the pitch.
Only Onana in there.
Yeah. So Premier League debutant Onana. Brilliant to see Ollie Watkins there. Other than that, absolutely fine. Who are the players that are missing? Because I'm struggling. I think
we don't have any Ealing Jr. We don't have any Barnechea on the bench. They're
Barkley.
They're probably the two big ones. Barkley's there, all right. No Moreno. Moreno is
Golden Knights Forest.
He's potentially going on loan to Forest. So there's none of those three there. So it's they're the ones that are missing. It's a pretty attacking bench as well when you think about it. Yeah, I know Ross Barkley will be deployed in the 6, but he could play in an 8 or a 10 position. It's not alien to him at all. You've got Buendia, Jaden Philogene, Jacob Ramsey, and John Duran. Like that's 1, 2, 3. That's 5 attackers in the bench to 3 defenders. So if you want to talk in rugby parlance, he's gone with a 5-3 split there, and that seems to me that that he wants to freshen things up in the middle of the field or even up top if needs be, and kind of go for this, even though we are away from home. And that's something he wasn't able to do last season. And I think it's important to state with regards to the first 11 that we have here. This is going to be. There's going to be a kind of almost like a sliding door between our team and their team. Their team will be new integrating, we'll take a look at it in a moment. They potentially will be integrating new players. They've obviously got a new manager, whereas we literally are putting out, they tried and tested here. These guys should be able to moonwalk their way backwards into Unai Emery's system, and I think that's probably why he was confident in starting a Watkins up top without having so much game time. What do you think, Paddy?
Well, like we did hear rumours that he was carrying a bit of an injury, so we don't know to what extent that was. Thankfully, he's there today, and I'm sure they wouldn't be taking any risks on him if his injury was substantial. So it's great to see him back. I'm particularly excited about looking at the left-hand side and looking at what Watkins, Rodgers, and Dean can offer. I think it's going to be strongly weighted towards that side in the attacking nature, because we've seen what Dean can do from those crosses and breaking into the box. So there's so much to talk about, but nothing specifically new other than Onana is in there. We know he's played Premier League football before. We know he's more than capable of it. So there's absolutely no Premier League debutants in there. So I'm not particularly worried. Now you're going to eventually throw up this West Ham team and worry me a little bit, I think.
No, not particularly. When you look at it, they've gone with tried and tested as well. Areola and goals, Soufal, Mavropanos and Kilman, new signing for them, and Emerson makes up their back 4. Guido Rodriguez comes in there as a central midfielder, all the experience in the world. Himself and Souček will probably hunker down there with Paqueta, Bowen and Kudos in behind Antonio. So once again, the 2 new players they've brought in, Kilman, a lot of Premier League experience. Guido Rodriguez would boot his own grandmother up and down the field. midfield, I big favourite of mine. So it's going to be bittersweet to watch him today. He comes in there and he's all the experience in the world. And then on their bench, they've got Fabianski, new signing Wan-Bissaka, new signings Jean-Claire Tadibo, Aaron Cresswell, Ward-Prowse, Irving, Crescencio Somerville, Fulkrug, and Ings. So they've gone particularly, like, they could change their front three or front four very easily as well, mid-game for them. So they're not exactly or they're not exactly looking around wanting to see a change of pace for them on the bench either, because they have it in Fulkrug, Ings, Somerville, Ward-Prowse, and Wan-Bissaka even at right back to give a different dimension to Soufal. So they've done some really, really good business this season.
Yeah, and as you say, they've decided to keep it more or less as was, with the experience. Obviously, Kilman had played before. Rodriguez is the bolter, I suppose. You look at the bench. There's just so much that you can do. Like, it really is fantastic, the job that's been done there by Lopetegui to bring in those players. So look, Somerville, Fulkrug, and our well-known Danny Ings could come on and change things up for them, and it will be a difficult task. I'm just so much more enthused that we have Ollie Watkins in this, because he's now obviously, you know, a huge star within England after what he did against Holland. So I think they'll be paying particular attention to him. And as you correctly say, if you want to win a few quid today, put a few quid on Rodriguez for a yellow card.
Yeah, I think so too. I've got a gripe. Huge gripe. Come on, West Ham. That's the fucking wrong badge. It's the wrong Villa badge. It's 2 years ago.
Well,
Villa badge.
Well,
come on.
Considering what we've done with our badge in the last 2 years, I think we'll have to give them a pass on getting the wrong one.
yeah, you'll be forgiven for that. You'll be forgiven for that, in fairness. So we can't go too hard in on them. Where's the air horn? Oh yeah, where is my celebratory air horn? I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if it's playing. The air horn. But I'll have to get that working again. I disabled the
Tupperware lid over it.
No, it's actually a Tupperware lid. I paid 40 quid for this, and I could have made it myself for my roadcaster.
Your roadcaster.
That's what it's called. It's called a roadcaster. It's a lovely little soundboard. Yeah, this will come in handy, Paddy, someday for one of our live podcasts. Don't you worry. I'm future-proofing the podcast with this one. I think future-proofing the podcast with this one. I was going to say something there, Paddy. Oh yeah. Yeah. So someone made a good point there in the comments about Max Kilman and Mavropanos playing for the first time together. A centre-half partnership playing for the first time together. Now, look, obviously they've probably taken a lot of reps together during the off-season, but it's probably something that you have to keep an eye on, along with having their enforcer in front of them being somebody who's new there as well. So it's probably something that you have to keep an eye on there, that hopefully Villa will be able to get in around there. Now, look, it should be no bother to Max Kilman. What do you think of Max Kilman, Paddy, as a player? You know, for me, I've always thought he was a fine centre half, but I thought that pundits saw an awful lot more in him than I did. Now, I'm not saying he's bad. Don't get me wrong. He's very, very good Premier League defender, but like, some people were bigging him up as being like 60, 70 million, 2 seasons ago. And I just wanted to get your thought on it.
Well, as you know, I don't tend to listen or agree with most pundits. I think they talk through their whatever. And I think he's a decent Premier League centre half. I was surprised that it was there that he went. But look, he went for solidity in what he bought, and he bought well. I think he's an okay centre half. Would he get into our team? I doubt it very, very much. And I suppose that will tell you everything you need to know about what I think about him.
Well, I'd love him in the situation we're in now, and I think it's worth saying as well. Lopetegui knows him. Lopetegui put the cash on the table for him as one of his first signings. So that's another thing here. Even though those two centre halves are aren't as familiar as you probably like in a partnership. Lopetegui knows Kilman inside out. So that's and I wanted to just address that because I've seen a couple of people mention it on Twitter as well. That like I don't see that being an issue for West Ham today. Now you'd like to think it will be that Ollie Watkins will be able to run both.
I'm not sure if you've lost me. Can you hear me? Okay.
I got you there. Yeah, I got you there. Yeah. But yeah, it's something that I just wanted to bring up because obviously him being the only new player in there, I don't really see a weakness in that West Ham team. Every time I see Koufal start, I think, yeah, Koufal's going to be the weak point, and he never is against us anyway. So I'm hoping that down that left hand side, Morgan Rogers can blow past him 10 or 12 times today.
Yeah. From what I gather, from what I read about Kilman, he seems to be a good leader, and that's obviously why he's been brought in there. You need players like that, obviously, Marshall, in your central defensive areas. So if he's a leader and a talker on the pitch, you could see why Lopetegui would like him, and that seems to be the number one thing he likes about him. Obviously, he can play football, but he's the leader of men, so that's why he signed him.
Yeah, I think so. Like, and as I say, I wasn't bringing this up to say that he was overvalued or overpriced. I think it was just a conversation I wanted to have because, he's somebody that came from non-league football. I think he was playing futsal, actually, was where he was originally noticed, if I'm not mistaken, or something along those lines. And then Maidstone, I think it was, and then onto and then Wolves, and then onto West Ham. And there was a big conversation about how much if it was Maidstone, I can't remember who it was, if that they were going to get from this transfer, and apparently they had to do a deal to lessen the transfer percentage that they would get. Whether that is true or not, I just think it was an interesting transfer that Max Kilman went through today. Paddy, their striking department is formidable as always. We never have an easy day against Mikel Antonio. And then, Mohamed Kudus, somebody I've loved for the last 3 or 4 years, has come into that team and hit the ground running. I'm in some ways I'm surprised he's still at West Ham because I thought someone would come in with a mega deal for him. And I think, to be honest with you, if Liverpool had sold Luis Diaz, and if they do sell Luis Diaz, I think West Ham can brace themselves for a bid there potentially. But fine player in Kudus, and also Jarrod Bowen is like, they always seem to have that English player that is just a real talisman for them. It seems to be synonymous with West Ham United, and he's that English guy for them that comes in there and he's never ever let them down.
Yeah, very, very, very good player, and an absolute idol of all the fans. If you walk up to that long walk up to the London Stadium, you'll see both. You've lost me or not? I can see you, but I'm.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah. Can do.
Hello.
Yeah, I got you. I can hear you. People hear me? I don't know if people can hear Paddy or not. I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear. All the time.
Okay. The other one is Antonio. Antonio went through a bad streak last year, and of course we rock up and he scores one and has one disallowed on the day I went to the London Stadium last season. So he's always capable of doing a job for sure.
We don't have Nicola Zaniolo today on the bench to come in, and as I say, last year in this fixture, he had one of the most underrated goals. I think it was scored for Aston Villa.
Your favourite goal?
I will bang the drum with regards to that. That finish with his left foot coming across the ball to poking into the back of the net was nothing short of outstanding. They're one of the ones where you go for it and you end up pulling a disc in your back or slipping a disc in your back, and it looks simple, but it's not. So I will go to my grave thinking that was a better goal than it was ever given credit for. But we don't have him in the bench. But our bench, as I mentioned there previously, is very, very strong. I'm expecting Unai Emery to break out the 5 subs today, Paddy. Am I wrong to think that, or do you think that Unai is comfortable to give this team lots of minutes, given that it's been a bit disjointed, not disjointed, but I mean, he's played 2 11s through a lot of preseason, and that some of these guys are only just getting back into it in the last 2 games of the preseason running. Am I reading too much into that, or do you think that he'll start to use his bench now that he has a bench worthy of using?
I think it all comes down to how the match is progressing. If we find ourselves at 60 minutes and we're absolutely on the back foot, there probably won't be too many changes. But then again, if we need someone to come on and chase if we're chasing the game, we could see the whole bench being emptied. But you'd have to think with the pre-season we've had that we're not going to see Ollie Watkins last the 90 minutes.
Oh yeah.
The sports science guys will have made a decision on how much he's going to play. So I would imagine we might get 60 minutes out of Ollie Watkins, and then we see a John Duran come in there. We've other players, of course, that could come in and do a job for us, and I would expect probably an Emi Buendia coming off the bench. We all know he loves Emi Buendia. Where he comes in, I don't know, or who he comes in for, I don't know. But it's going to be a really, really interesting 90 minutes.
I can't see this 90 minutes going without Jacob Ramsey coming off the bench. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ramsey come off the bench, Morgan Rogers move in centrally, or even go up top. I think that's a definite change. I think somebody who's going to see reduced minutes this year is John McGinn, which isn't a bad thing. And it's not saying that he's winding down or anything. The man was like Iron Man last year. You know, the amount of minutes he played along with Ollie Watkins, and it's unsustainable, specifically when you're getting up into the 28, 29, 30 years of age. That's unsustainable. There's only James Milners in this world that can do that kind of crack. And we know how well James Milner keeps himself. So I could see somebody like Buendia coming in for John McGinn, or Buendia or Jacob Ramsey coming in for McGinn, and Morgan Rogers moving in more essentially. I could see Tielemans. I don't think Tielemans lasts 90 minutes. I think Barkley comes on in that instance there. And I'm just so happy that we have opportunities to change, or the ability to change the players if things aren't going right, or if we have some downtime, because much and all as last year we had X, Y, and Z on the bench, you know, and in form of younger players. I'm watching Everton and Brighton. I was watching it before this. Young Tim was having an absolute brilliant game. You know, for them, he was the best player for Everton. Now they're 2-0 down at the moment, and a man down. And I don't know if it was him that was sent off. Actually, it wasn't. I can see him there, but it's we had him on the bench. We didn't really trust him coming off the bench an awful lot last year. Omari Kilman would have been on the bench quite regularly last year. And, even down to the likes of Zaniolo and those guys, while they did come off the bench, the impact that they had at times wasn't exactly what we would have hoped for. So I'm hoping for more impact from our bench this year, because I'm hoping that Unai Emery uses it more to keep more bullets in the chamber for the whole season that we have.
Yeah, I lost you for a good portion of that, Neil. So I don't know how to follow what you've just said. I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can. Yeah, I've got you loud and clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. In case I fall off again, I've got two things to.
Yes.
Two shout outs to give.
This.
Yeah. Our young friend, our youngest listener, Caden, is 9th birthday today. So I hope you have a great day, Caden. And I'm pretty sure you're not watching the Team Sheet Tantrum, but I know your birthday party will be over before the match starts for sure. And our other friend, David Scott, who lovely announced us on the stage at our live Dublin show, stalwart of the Irish Lions, turned 40 yesterday, and you won't believe what happened to him when he turned 40. His wife gave birth to a bouncing baby boy called Theo.
Excellent.
So a double celebration in the David Scott house. So absolutely delighted for him. Great way to start your 40th birthday, and another young villain to come and watch the podcast and watch the Villa.
Absolutely. So Caden is now our second youngest villain watching the podcast, because I'm sure Theo is probably parked up on David's lap at the moment. David, you don't look a day over 34. Genuinely, you you don't. So I'm actually surprised that you're 40. But it does make sense. Congratulations.
He may not thank me for saying he was 40.
I'm sure he probably won't. But look, hey, Father Time waits for no man, and he is also undefeated. And as you say, like, best wishes to Caden, should I say, and best wishes to David and to his better half as well on the birth of their new boy Theo. So I think that's probably a great way to start to wrap up this podcast. But as you know, It's going to be the first one of the season. I want you guys to pop in your scores into the chat there, and I'm going to give a quick rundown through them. And while I'm doing that, just want to shout out, in case you guys didn't see it already, go on to Twitter and check out our Twitter feed. We've partnered with Football Prizes on Twitter. They're at @football_prizes, and they have the opportunity, or they run draws to win signed Aston Villa memorabilia, authentic certified signed Aston Villa memorabilia, framed and nicely presented and stuff like that. If that's something that you guys are interested in, go give those guys a look as well, if you wouldn't mind, please, because as I say, they have come on board with us, and you'll be hearing from us with regards to those in match previews going forward. They're going to be the featured partner of our match previews going forward. So that's Football Prizes at @football_prizes on Twitter as well. A lot of these are coming in. A lot of the scores coming in. So I'm going to get started. Villa 1982, James SUTFE is going with 2-0 Villa. Sai is going with 2-1. Junior is going with 1-0. Llewellyn Valley's going 2-1 Villa. Richard Laws is 2-2 draw. Luca is going with 2-1. Flange is going with 3-1. Stephen Brown is going with 2-1. Dunleavy is going 2-1. Spencer Bakewell, thank you. I'll be in 2 seconds for my dinner, lovey. Okay, see you in 2 seconds. Live podcasting, eh? Spencer Bakewell's going for 1-0. Shark Spray is going for 9-0. Tom is going for 54 minutes. I'm not sure what that means. C. Lina is going for 2-1 Villa. 2-1 says John Morgan. Luke Searle is going with 1-all. So is Michael Huggins, 1-all as well for Audrey. 2-1 for Peter M. Padge's matchup going with 1-all. John Steele going with 3-2. David Dwyer going for 2-1. Mick Ducati going for 2-0. Pete Still 2-0. Tom 3-0. 1-0 says Paul Miller. Michael Richards going with 1-all. 2-1 says Matthew Lang. 4-4 goes Bodders. RA Venture is going with 1-0 Villa. Big Matthew is going with 2-1 Villa. US Crits says 2-1 Villa, but maybe a 2-2. Icky is going with 3-1 Villa. 3-2 says Max Hunter. Luke's again 1-all. Paul S going 4-2. Rob Henry's going with 2-1. David Horn is going with David Ham is going with 2-1. Should I say? True Magpie's going with 2-1 Villa. 4-3 Villa goes. Bodders is back in again. Paul Roberts with 2-1. Matt Hans is going with 1-1. Oh, Paul Merson, Villa Legend, going with 2-1 Villa. Ronan War going with 2-2. Elliot is going with 2-1 Villa. Kieran Sherrington is going with 3-1 Villa. Tyra Roblox is going with 1-0 Villa. Adam S is going with 3-2 Villa. Paul McAllister, 2-1 Villa. 2-2 says Adrian McKeever. 3-2 says Jay. Where else are we? Jamie is going with 3-2 Villa. Coconuts is going with 3-0. Just Roy is going with 3-0. Greg O'Connor is going with 3-1. Where is it? Jason O'Brien was going with 2-1. Good girl. 2-0 Dean Blackwood, and Neil Dunward is going with 1-all draw today as well. And I think this little girl is going in for her dinner because she's really hungry, and I'm going to join her in a minute. Paddy, what are you going for?
I would snap your hand off for a 1-all draw today. I think it's just needs to get points on the board and a good performance.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. John Duran off the bench, and then he can do his iron sign up to the West Ham fans and say,
excellent.
Here's what you could have had.
Excellent. How bad is right. Yeah, Paddy, I'm going to let you get back to the liquid lunch that you're obviously going to be on there in about 2 minutes' time, that you're currently on, should I say. And I'm going to have to take care of this little lady because...
Go and get your dinner.
She's half stuck going over a step here as well, so I'm going to have to go and help her. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. We will be back with a post-match podcast. I will be directly after the game up the Villa, and hopefully they win today, and we'll be back celebrating in that one. But stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.